Hi, I'm Pam Hayes from Hayes Sewing Machine Company. Welcome back. We are going to talk today about doing a panel quilt. So the one that I'm going to be using is by Villa Rosa Designs. It's called FOXFIRE. I always want to say Firefox, but that was a movie from the 80s, I think. All right, and that is what we're working with. It is kind of what you see behind me. We're going to be using a panel, and then we're going to be basically doing borders, and then we have blocks in the corner.
Oh, to transition around the corner. Oh, nice.
That's how they do the corners.
Cool.
All right. You basically have to have, the Villa Rosa pattern calls for having a panel that's 23 by 40. That's kind of what her measurements are taken from.
Is it 23 or 24?
Sorry. 24 by 40. So that's what she wants. Now, if you pull out a panel that you love and you're like, oh, it's 22. Oh no, just add on to it. In this case, I could have added on like black to make it a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But what I needed for the pattern just happened to be exactly what the panel was. And I know that doesn't happen in your stash. But remember, just add on. So just take a little bit. Most of us have a scrap of fabric somewhere in our house. So we would just add on. You want to basically try to do the panel center, having it exactly the size, because that way you don't have to refigure the math, because we all love to do that. Okay. So what you're going to start out with first is this guy right here. So I am basically putting the black and the green together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that guy first. Remember, work with your 1/4 inch seam. For me, remember to get my eyeballs on. And we're going to sew our 1/4 inch. And we're just going to sew all the way down. So we did the black, so it would transition nicely from the panel. But remember, if you have a different color panel, go whatever color you like. And we're going to go all the way down. And remember, I would have done this 3 other times. So you need a total of 4 of your strips.
Because cleverly, there's 4 sides to the panel.
Aren't you good? All right. So now we're going to go and we're going to give it a press. And I'm pressing towards the black. Give it a good press. Okay. Now, basically, we measure the top of your panel. All right, so we're going to measure basically, in this case, 24. All right, so we're going to measure 24, and that's what we're going to cut this. So we're going to clear off our salvages. We don't want those in there. Nothing like says happiness like a new rotary blade. I tell you. All right, we go, and we're going to measure all the way across. And it's very convenient that this mat is 24 inches wide. Okay. So at this point, this is the distance basically for the top. Okay.
Lovely.
Now we're going to go, and we need to make the corners. So when we line this up, we're going to have 2 squares. Let me do it on this side. All right, so we're going to have 2 squares, roughly the same size. And we are going to measure corner to corner. All right. I'm measuring and drawing this, but we're actually going to go, and we're actually going to cut it. But I just wanted to have a little bit of safety to make sure I'm seeing the line as I need to, and you're going to cut straight across, like so. We are now going to take those 2 pieces, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch seam allowance.
Now, if somebody wanted to do the more traditional way of half square triangles where you draw the line and then sew 1/4 inch away on either side, is that going to be fine?
That's not what they told me to do.
Okay. You're not
Probably.
reinventing the
I'm not reinventing
pattern.
the wheel, but there you go. Yeah, and so when you're sewing this, because we are on the bias at this point, this is not the time to have the gorilla grip on it. So we're going to go, and we're going to just line it up. And you notice how I'm see how I'm having a little bit of a bubble?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to
Pulling it tight.
Pulling it tight. And we're just going to get it lined up. Now, if you are afraid that you kind of messed it up a little bit and pull a little too hard, you can use Mary Ellen's Best Press to kind of stiffen it up.
A little bit.
Yeah, stiffen it up. All right, so now we're going to press them after I cut them. Again, I'm going to press them to the dark. So the seam allowance is going to go, in this case, to the brown. Okay. Now, we're going to go and we're going to put black squares on the corners. And the corner that we're focusing on is the green.
Got it.
Okay? And so I drew my chalk line, and I'm going to sew right on that line, and then we're going to trim the other bit off.
Okay.
And that is going to help me get the angle that I need to work with. So make sure you're going from edge to edge. Give you a hint, that is not correct. So we want to have our drawn line, edge to edge.
So if you're ever starting or ending at the corner of the block, just go ahead and seam ripper.
Just seam ripper it out. It ain't right.
This is a cute pattern. I like this because
It
it's
is.
simple.
It's simple.
But it's certainly more interesting than just taking a panel and doing regular, you know, what I would consider square borders
Yeah.
around it. It almost frames it like a picture.
It does. It makes it look like you did all the math, and you know me,
And just follow the pattern.
just follow the pattern. All right, now they want you to trim 1/4 inch. You could also do this with your pair of scissors. So you're going to trim that. And trim across. And we're going to give it a press. Again, I'm going to press to the black. Just to make it
To the dark
to the dark
side.
side. Okay. And now you see there are our blocks.
Fabulous. Love it.
So now at this point, we're going to take and we're going to put it to our border. So when we're sewing this to the border, okay, so this is our border that we had cut previously, and I need to put my blocks on. All right, so when you're working with it, you can see how what we're trying to line up. So at this point, we're going to go, and this is where I like to use my clips, and Loretta will be hardened to hear it. I'm actually going to do a quilt tack.
Mm-hmm.
She's like so excited. She's doing a little, quilt tack dance behind the camera. All right, so now at this point, one thing to know, it's a weird angle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I line it up where I think it should be, and it's not going to want to be there. So I go, and you can see how I flip it back at the 1/4 inch,
Mm-hmm.
and so you see how it's not right. So just shift it until it is.
Okay, hang on for a second. All right, show that again.
Sure. All right, so now at this point, can you see where you kind of like you would be looking here?
Mm-hmm.
But when you do your 1/4 inch, can you see how
You're going to be off.
you're going to be off? So this is where I shift it, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's where I want to be. And then I'm going to put my little clip there, and I'm going to do my quilt tack. So remember, we're going to line it up. So a little bit before the line, a little bit after the line. And close enough for me.
Okay.
Looks good.
Can't really see it in the camera. Pull it a little towards your machine. There you go. Love it.
And to me, that
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I'm cool with that. You know me by now. 3 foot rule. If it
Mhm.
looks good from 3 feet, don't worry about it. So we're going to go and we're going to sew across. Got my thread caught around my foot, so we're going to just ease through that. All right, line it up, and we're just going to sew right along. We're going to go all the way to the end. And then guess what? This is going to give me a second time to practice. You're going to have basically 4 of these to work with. So you'll have your 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. All right, so same issue. You'll see how if you get it kind of lined up where you think, it may be off a little bit. So again, you're just going to pin, try to pin this edge, take a look at my 1/4 inch, that looks good, and do my quilt tack so I can check it to see if it looks good. And yep, right on the money. So then at this point, we're going to sew. If at any point you think one side is a little bit bigger, because remember we were on the bias, always put big side down. So when you're working with it, if you find you need to ease a little bit in, again, always put the larger side down. And we're good to go.
Nice.
All right. So now we're going to go and we're going to put this on the top. And I'm just seeing how I pressed my seams. So I want to press them the opposite direction.
So what did you press them towards the border?
On that one, yes, I press them towards the border, so I'm pressing towards the, yes. Actually, I press them towards the panel.
Okay.
So I'm pressing, actually, nope, I'm looking at the panel. I'm pressing it towards the border, so I'm going to press it in. All right, so now I want to line it up. And these, because I pressed them in different directions, they should be absolutely fine. This is another one that you're going to have to be a little careful. And
yeah, but that's not bad. I mean, 8 quilt tacks on a quilt top.
Nope,
That's
not
not
at
bad.
all. No, so when you line it up, we're going to go. Make sure I like it. Put my clip there. Going to go and give it a quilt tack just to make sure I like it. Open it up. Yep. It looks good. And I'm not just saying that, it actually looks good.
Yeah, that's always my problem. I do the quilt tack and then I don't look at it and then I sew it and I'm like, oh, that's not right.
So again, I'm doing this guy.
Definitely a case of do as I say, not as I do.
Yep. All right, so again, make sure it's lined up, 1/4 inch seam. So I'm going to line it up at my, cut it, open it up. Yep, I'm right on the money today. Accidents happen. All right, so now we're going to see if we have any major largeness on one side versus the other. So I'm going to sew with my block, my corner blocks down, and then that will.
Which makes sense because they were done on the bias.
They were done on the bias.
They have the greatest potential to stretch.
Again, when I'm coming to my quilt tack, just remember to sew right on through. Dee, 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 dee. I just ran out of bottom thread.
Mm-hmm. We got that. Every sewist recognizes that.
That
pause.
That pause. It stopped. Well, I'm just happy that it stopped, and the fact that I didn't keep on stitching. Yeah, this one will be good. All right, so let's pop that guy in. All right, so again, we're going to keep on stitching across. You're going to have your, again, 1/4 inch seam. So once I'm done sewing this, I actually have one more section of borders to go on. I'm going to have the brown, in this case, this brown, as another finishing off.
Okay.
To go all the way around. So
it really will look like a picture frame.
it really will look like a picture frame. Lined up. All right, so I'm going to lay it out as it is right now so you can take a look. Isn't that pretty?
It is.
All right.
Gorgeous.
So then what's going to happen is I'm going to add the brown going all the way around. So again, it's going to really make it act like a picture frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. And I put the last border on, the last brown border, and take a look.
That is really cute, Pam.
And we will see you next time.